Hi, my name is Jonathan Eiler-Wervey, and today we're going to be talking about project management with the Indaba Fieldwork platform. Now, the Indaba platform is a tool for groups that are collaborating to publish documents, and it has several pieces of software that are built on the platform. The one we're going to be talking about today is Builder, which is the application that actually runs fieldwork, and that's where most of the project management has to happen. This is the one where it's got several hundred people can be logged into a project that are contributing, writing, editing, peer review, any number of functions that will be involved in a set of documents, getting that from the beginning to the end of a workflow. So let's take a look at some of the tools in Indaba. We can click over here to Start page. This is opening up. This is a manager view. Indaba is very contextual to the user, so each user is going to get slightly different set of information, and they're going to get slightly different features depending on how their role in the project is configured. And that's a setup per project. A different organization may define things differently. But what you're going to see here is a manager for a global integrity project, and you can see right here my Your Assignments box. This is where if I had work pending that had to be done, there would be listed there. Right now it's empty, so all of my assignments are done. And the main project management tool for all of Indaba, and it's behind everything we do, is this workflow engine. And what that does is it translates the path between the original author on a document and the final person who approves it before it goes out the door. It tracks that path through groups of people, either through specifically assigned people or through queues where groups of people can claim the documents they want to work on. And it's going to then alert people when there's work to do on a particular document. If they're assigned to something, it's going to get mailed out to them, or they're going to get an email from the workflow engine telling them that they need to log into the system and get involved. And you can see some of those over here in the inbox. You can see confirmations for work I've done when I was clearing out that Your Assignments box. So, second big piece of project management help here is these visualizations and dashboards that give us a really quick view of where all of our documents are in a process. What you can see right now is this is the Global Integrity Report. We've just launched our scorecards. So all of these documents are pretty much in the same phase, which means they've completed the first goal in the workflow. That's the contract submission. So all these authors have sent in a contract, so they're allowed to start working. And then you can see this second block here is half done. That's the goal that's in progress right now, which is their first initial authoring. And you can scroll down, you can see all of these. You can see exactly which ones are complete and which ones are not. Now, later on, you may see some of these will be much farther advanced than others because their authors turned in their work on time and that sort of thing. Others where it's actually overdue from the deadline for a given goal, it's going to turn red. So you can scroll down the page and see exactly which ones are late and which ones a manager needs to go in and actually get involved and call the person up or talk to them over email and try to figure out what's going on and why they haven't sent in their work. To help that process move along with as little friction as possible, you can see below each document there is the name of the author that's currently assigned to it and what the exact goal is that they're working on. This is pretty simple when workflows are happening one after another, but Indaba is much more flexible than that in how you structure workflows. You can have a workflow where there's 3 or 4 people working on different things at the same time, and the workflows branch and then they come back together, and you need all of those 4 people to finish their works before it goes to the next phase, or you just need 1 or 2 of them to finish before it moves on. So there's a lot of logic underneath this that is happening in order to give you a very simple view of what's the one person that you need to be involved with right now for that document, where all these other things are hopefully still happening and still working, even if the managers aren't interacting with them directly. One more tool that helps managers manage the projects is this chart right here. And over here you see a little green sliver. That's the progress to date since the beginning of this project. This project just launched. It's 2 days old. So that's a very small segment. And over here you have a time axis, and then up here you have the % completion for that particular document. And the reason we can measure this is because it's going from all these different people, and the different people have assignments with different lengths of due date. So we use that to get a yardstick for how much work actually has to be left on a document in person days. So as we go on, you can see this goal that's being worked on right now is a big one because it's going to take about 2 months to complete. That's the initial authoring of this particular data set. And then from there, you can hover over each of these dots and you can see what the next steps are: editing, payment, peer review, all of these steps towards the final completion. And if this document gets done very quickly, you're going to see a very steep line coming up here as it zooms right up to completion. If it's stalled somewhere, you're going to see a horizontal line until you get that resolved, and then progress will resume. And what that lets you do is, one, see very quickly what the backstory is on a document. If you're on a project with 100 documents in flight, you're not going to know what's going on with every single one. But if you get an email about it from an author saying, hey, here's an update on this, you're going to want to understand what's been happening with it. So this is a way of understanding, is this an overachiever that's zooming through this workflow, or is this one that's been stalled for a long time and has barely gotten started? It also gives you one piece of information through these projections that I think managers will find very useful, which is that it's got a projection based on the estimated due dates of all of these projects. It's got a projection of when that piece of work is actually going to be done. Especially towards the end, you should have a pretty good sense of how long things take to complete. And then from that, you can use this to answer the question of, is this document going to be ready by the time our whole project publishes? Which is a question that all these managers have to grapple with, is, when do I schedule the press conference? If all of these documents are going to be done in February, then I'll do it in March. If it's going to be done much later than that, then I need to readjust my plans. So it's a simple thing to understand, but the logic behind it is fairly complex. And it's able to do this because we've got our workflows coded in a way that the machines can understand. And all of these interactions are part of one common database, so that every time somebody does something, it feeds information into these metrics, whether the author or editor that's doing the work is aware of that or not. So that's project management in the Builder application on the Indaba Fieldwork platform. Thanks for listening, and we'll be talking in future videos about knowledge management and relationship management on the platform as well.